Okay. Mishlei 1512. Before I forget, I'm not giving shiur next week. But I'm gonna see if I can get someone to cover me. So we'll see. I'll let you know. Okay. Lo ye'ahav Leitz. Hocheach lo. Yeah. All right. El chachamim lo yelech. I thought I got the asnaf on the wrong place. Yeah. So you want to translate that?
Is it someone who doesn't love the scoffer should have become?
I don't think so.
Don't love him.
So I think the ye'ahav is going on the Leitz as a subject, not as an object.
The low, yeah, how Leitz.
Yeah. So like it's like saying Leitz lo ye'ahav. Okay.
Someone who the Leitz hates.
Okay. So anyone else want to try? Good effort.
The Leitz will not like the one who rebukes them.
Yeah, that's it. Right. So the scoffer will not. I'm going to go ahead and use love because ahava. I guess you could translate as like, but I think love is probably the more common translation. Will not love the one. Will not love one who rebukes him.
I was getting distracted by the.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I didn't have a hyphen here. El chachamim lo yelech.
Who singes, he will not go.
Yeah, he will not go to. I guess I'll keep it in the order. To the wise, he will not go. Okay.
Did you see this by Victor Miller?
Can we?
No, it's on this though.
Oh, okay, fine. This is just some random I don't know. Let's do Mishlei first, and then you can show me that later. Okay, all right. Okay. So Targum Sadigon. There's no mitzvah Sion. Sadigon. So Sadigon does this weird thing. So. There's this genre of pasukim that he calls the yesh pasukim, pasukim that say yesh in the beginning, and he'll sometimes insert yesh, which means like there are cases in which, so I think when he translates something as timsa, he also means like you'll find a case where this is where this is true, like we say in Gemara, like a hechi timsa, so I don't know why he does that here, but he says timsa, you will find, and I think the implication is a case in which the scoffer does not love the one who rebukes him, and he does not go to the wise. Yeah.
Meaning like he's saying this isn't always the case, but
yeah, I think that's what he means by timsa, which is.
Doesn't it seem like I'd imagine almost every pasuk?
I know. Like that. Oh no, yeah, okay, well, okay, right. So that's the thing. I mean, let's put it this way. There are very few, if any, pasukim that are 100%, right? Many of them, though, are the majority of the time, but and then some of them are, some of them are sometimes, and then some of them are like there are specific cases. So Tim says like there are specific cases in which, I know that that's the case for when he says yesh, but Timsa, I think is how he does it. Well, but again, to me that doesn't make sense here. Okay, I did not actually get a chance to read the Targum. Lo rachim mimikna laman demachsein le ulavas chakime lo azel. I think mimik. I'm not sure. I think that's just a translation of Leitz. Let me just check here. What's the easiest way to do this? Let's go to. Oops. No, I want to actually go to just in the first parak of Mishlei and just see if he translates it that way in the first parak.
Does the author not have English Targum?
It has English Targum for Chumash, but not for Mishlei, at least. I don't know about. Oh, and also has it for Tehillim, but not for Mishlei. Targum. So where's the Leitz show up? Leitz shows up at 23 or 22. 22. Mimikne, yeah, right. All right, fine. So I don't know exactly what the shortage is. I think this is just a straight translation. Lo rachem, because rachem is ahava, is mimikna laman de machsein le. I think that's just someone who rebukes him. Okay, fine. So we're gonna get rid of this.
Then could that mean get angry?
Let's look it up.
That's regards.
I mean, there could be different words for anger, right? Machsein. Chastise, so rebuke, yeah. All right. Okay. All right, where are we here? Hold on a second. Let me just collapse this again to the proper dimensions. Okay, yeah. So Art Scroll says a scoffer does not like his being reproved. I thought that's interesting. Hocheach lo.
That's not the guy.
I guess it's not the guy. Yeah, right. Although it's interesting. Alter says the scoffer does not love it when one rebukes him. When one rebukes him, yeah, fine. So it does not love. I'll just say does not love it. Does not love it when. It does not like being. Yeah, his being rebuked. Okay, fine. I want to try to get the low in there. He will not go to the wise. A scoffer does not like to be reproved. He will not go to the wise. Alter says a scoffer does not love it when one rebukes him. To the wise, he will not go. Yeah. All right. So I feel like the main question is obvious here.
Isn't this obvious?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Isn't this obvious? Hold on a second. I don't have the volume up. Just 1 second. Yeah. Ariel, what did you say?
It's Pasha.
It's pashut. Yeah. Okay. Right. There are there are many psukim about how the Leitz hates rebuke. And like even if we didn't have psukim like that, we could predict what the Leitz will do when someone rebukes him. Yeah. So it's like what's the finish? Yeah. Yeah.
This might be a meta question, but isn't any negative archetype opposed to rebuke?
Not any. The Ksil, the Veal, I mean most of them. The Ksil, the Veal, the Russia, and the Leitz are the ones who you should not rebuke. But the Nar and the Pesi, who Rבינו Yona learns are both fools, he says you should rebuke. And also we saw that, let's just go to the last few psukim again, because we are in a rebuke-focused cluster here. Who did we see being talked about here? Right. So we had the Ozav Orach, right? Musa Ra, Ozav Orach. Oh, sorry, yeah. What was the earlier? Yeah, Vil Yonas Musa Aviv. And then we had the yeah. I guess we only had two then. Right? I feel like we had one more. Musa Ra, Ozav Orach. Oh, I know why. Because the last pasuk we did last week about the grave, then someone said that was about rebuke, even though it doesn't mention it. Yeah, right. Yeah. So, and the other thing also is that even though these different negative Mishlei archetypes don't like rebuke, they might not like it for different reasons. Right. So let's say, for example, I think we had a Malbim earlier who said that the Avil is the one who's a skeptic, whereas the Ksil is the Baal Taiva. So the Avil will not like the rebuke and will oppose it for intellectual reasons, or at least that's how he'll express it. Whereas the Ksil might agree with the ideas, but he's overwhelmed with his desires, so it'll come from a different place. Yeah. Yeah.
Why does it say he doesn't love it?
Yeah, I know, right. Why lo ye'ehav, right? Seems like an understatement, right?
Sort of even implies, and it says he won't go to the chacham, but maybe if the chacham goes to him and rebukes him, he won't love it, but maybe he'll hear it.
Oh, yeah, right. That's actually, I think, should be its own question, which is, does the second half imply only that he won't go to the chachamim, but the chachamim can come to him and be effective in some way? Yeah. If so, that seems to. It doesn't really go against the first. I mean, well, okay. There's tension from the first half, right? Right.
He's not gonna like it when they do it.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll listen anyway.
Yeah, with the first half and other psukim. Right. I think that it would be the good deduction. Yeah, Moshe.
What's his relationship with the chachamim such that he won't go to them?
Yeah. Okay. So, what is his relationship with the chachamim such that he won't go to them? Right. So you would think just from the plain shot, it's because they'll rebuke him, but it might be more than that.
Well, yeah, but also that's not only chachamim's role, I guess.
Right. Correct.
Why is that their relationship with him?
Right. Yeah. And I guess like, to what extent is that relationship determined by his relationship with rebuke? Yeah. Moshe, do you have a question?
Yeah, it's gonna be similar.
Yeah.
Under other circumstances, would he go to the chachamim?
Okay. Right. Yeah. I'm going to put this here. Are there circumstances in which he would go to the chachamim? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one. Oh, you know what? That's funny. Yeah. Someone who asked me this. Oh, yeah. Rabbi Zimmer asked me this. Was it this past Friday night? He asked what Mishleic archetype Trump falls into. And I don't know why I didn't say Leitz. I mean, he certainly is a Leitz, right? I mean, because the two I'll read this now. I was going to read this later on, but this is the one of the few psukim in Mishlei where it defines it. Zaid Yahir Leitz Shemo Oseb Ever Zadon. Zaid is someone who is like aggressive or malicious in the sense of like, I mean, Rבינו is like rejoicing in people's downfall, making fun of them, mocking them, making fun of like good character traits. And then Yahir is arrogant, right? So I think, no matter what a person holds about Trump politically, he definitely is arrogant and he definitely likes making fun of people, So, but yet, it does seem like he would, in certain areas, like does consult people who are experts, So maybe because they don't rebuke him. I mean, I don't know, but that's a good question. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll put the question here. Also, the main question of what is the definition of a Leitz in this context, and I'm going to try to resist the temptation. Actually, I will be able to successfully resist the temptation to go through all the psukim about Leitz because we've done that before. It is a good exercise. I have shiurim where we go through every single pasuk with Leitz just to try to get like a working definition. But I think we will, if we need a working definition, we'll rely on this pasuk here or Rבינו and Yona because those are my two go-tos. Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that you made fun of that thing. Are you saying we're not going to?
We're not going to go through all the psukim about Leitz again.
All right.
Even though that
I was thinking not to because maybe I'm thinking of a new.
Yeah. That's I want to keep it open to that also. Yeah. I feel like it's good to go to do this.
Corrupted.
I feel like it's good to go through all the psukim about Leitz like every couple of years, but we did it last year, I think. I think, yeah. Or if you was it? Yeah. Okay. Lo yahav Leitz lo al chachamim lo yelech. Yeah, I guess we can also similarly ask a question about lo yahav. It seems like an understatement. What is his emotional relationship with those who rebuke him? The pasuk doesn't say.
Right.
Yeah, it just says what it's not. Yeah.
Right, who's rebuking him?
Yeah. Okay. That's another question. Is who is the person who rebukes him, and does it even matter? In this context, right? Because it seems like he won't love them anyway. Yeah.
Is the second half consequence of the first half or explaining the first half?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Also,
I was
so
gonna add on to that.
Yeah.
Like is it just another? Is it an addition to the first half?
yeah, what's the relation between the two halves? Is the second half explaining the first half? The first half, is it a separate point? Is it a consequence? Yeah. Okay. I feel like those are the main. Well, I guess the other question also is who's the audience, right? Who's the intended audience? Because is this talking? I mean, presumably it's talking to the person who is in a position where he is tempted to rebuke the Leitz, but maybe not.
And also like what is it talking about? What's the main point?
Yeah. Would be rebuker. Yeah, I mean, I feel like what's the main point is included in the finish or in the question about what isn't this obvious? I guess what's the finish? Yeah. Finish. Okay. Yeah, this is a tough one. Yeah.
Two different approaches.
Okay.
So the first one, I think, based on Ezra's question about the second half of the pasuk, if you understand el chachamim lo yelech as a consequence, then maybe the pasuk isn't about tochacha, but since the Leitz doesn't love tochacha, so then he's not going to go to the chachamim and not just not go to them to get tochacha.
Okay, good.
He's not going to learn from the chachamim because he's going to remove himself.
Okay. The chance that he might get tochacha is enough to turn him away from the chachamim.
Yeah, and that'll
cut him off from all those benefits.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea. Okay, so Moshe Rosenthal is the first half is obvious, right? But the second half is identifying an unintended consequence. Okay, consequence. Since what? Oh, sorry, intended, unintended consequence. Which is that since he hates rebuke so much, he won't even put himself into a situation where rebuke is possible, and consequently, he will avoid going to Chachamim in general and miss out on all the benefits that come from such associations. Now, can we explain in accordance with that why it uses the understatement of lo ye'ahav as opposed to soneh Yeah.
So I don't know if it's gonna be related to his idea, but I may have an answer for that just
Okay.
in general.
Yeah.
And
You can say if it's a different approach, then you can
I
say
don't know,
also.
it's just
Yeah.
something I'm just like still in the process of thinking about.
Yeah.
It's not fully.
All right, sure.
but,
You
like,
can. All right.
I may have something on this specifically. Maybe you could say that
I
like.
couldn't tell if he wanted to talk or not. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that like, for not, he doesn't love it, maybe you could say that like, look, it's possible, like, I could see even a Leitz, like, if he is struggling with something, he may himself, ask for some advice or whatever, like, it is possible,
Mhm.
like, I just don't think he'll go out of his way to I don't think if someone approaches him and gives him a rebuke that's unsolicited, he's not gonna like that.
Right.
But if you really love it, you'll go out of your way to get the rebuke.
Okay. So you want to add that?
No, I was thinking that, but just as a separate approach.
Okay, so I'll take on what Ariel's saying first, which is that not loving implies that he won't seek it out. And that pairs well with the second half. Because it's saying he won't seek out, the chachamim. Yeah, I would accept that. It would be nice. I feel like it would be nice if
It's
it,
not fully thought out,
if it packed like a punch. Yeah.
No, I mean, I was thinking that just as a separate approach of El Chacham Leilech. El Chacham Leilech mean the like description of the first half where he's in this quasi state where he's not going to like initiate like getting to Chacham, but he is open to receive.
Okay, so this is a totally separate approach you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So Moshe Rosenthal 2, which is the sorry, how do you phrase this? The
Leitz
correlation of the second and the first half.
The second half of the pasuk is is like a shiur in his not loving the tochacha, meaning to say that in other words, he doesn't love it, but he can appreciate it at some level, but he's not going to actively pursue it. So, and that's shown by the fact that he doesn't go to the chachamim. But if they're present and they say something, he might accept it, pursue it,
and therefore he won't go to the chachamim. But if they said something, or which he heard, or they come to him, he might be receptive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you could say that like, so why chacham specifically?
Okay.
It sounds like the pasuk's highlighting chacham. Maybe you could say that like the Leitz, he doesn't want to go to the chachamim because if the chachamim are smarter than him, then he's going to be proven wrong.
Yeah, that I think.
So maybe you could say that like, look, maybe he'll just ask idiots or average Joe schmoes, and like it's not going to like, okay, he'll ask for the rebuke, but that's not genuine. It's not genuine advice or whatever you want to call it because it's not going to elevate him. His mind because it's not going to enhance his mind. Because he's wrong.
Okay, so why does it specify chachamim? Because he doesn't want to face the fact that they're smarter than he is. So he might be willing to go to non-chachamim, even you're saying even for tochacha, or for
for almost anything.
Okay, I'll just say even to non-chachamim, and whoa, nice catch. Yeah. I feel like I missed one thing. What am I missing here?
He's not gonna go. Because this guy, I guess a part of this definition of Leitz is that like he doesn't want to be. He wants to be above everyone else, and he doesn't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he wants to. For some reason, why does he want to ask even someone else?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe to make himself feel good or whatever it is, but he's not asking the chacham because once he recognizes wrong, then it'll put him down.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's good. That's a good possibility. I'm gonna go with Ezra Koppel first, assuming that that's what this is.
Yeah. So for the I think for Moshe's approach, for one of them, I think the second one more, but that the first half is saying that he doesn't like it, so he did like don't go to him and give rebuke. Like he'll come on his own to get rebuke if he wants it. Like he doesn't want someone to come and like lecture him. If he wants something, he'll come and get it. But he doesn't go to the. That's like the second half like,
okay.
punch. Like he won't even go to the chacham and get it for himself.
Okay, all right. That's an interesting idea also. Yeah, these are all very like related, but I think we should brainstorm them. Okay, so this is Ezra Koppel. Is the first half says that because he doesn't like rebuke, you shouldn't go to him to rebuke him in an unsolicited manner. If he wants it, he'll seek it out. Okay. However, the second half tells us that even when he seeks it out, he won't go to Chachamim. And I'm gonna say perhaps for the reasons Ariel said. Okay, this is a good structure. I like the structure for this one. Yeah, Ezra.
I also.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Ezra.
I was trying to also indicate that like he might not go out and get it at all.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So he'll. Okay. So if he wants it. All right. Now I don't understand what you're saying then. Because I thought you were saying that the reason why it has to talk about. I thought you were saying the reason why it has to say he won't go to Chachamim is implying that he will go to others. But you're not.
I was trying to say that he won't even seek it out when he does need it. So he won't ever get it, because if you come to him, he'll say, no, like I'll go on my own time. And when it's time for him to actually go and get it, he's not interested in going.
Okay, and if he needs it, he won't seek it out. Okay, so now I don't know what the Chiddush is. Yeah. To me, that still sounds like it's obvious. Yeah, Ezra.
I have an approach which I think is in line with Moshe's first approach.
Okay.
I think maybe lo yahav means that he's uncomfortable with it. The Leitz doesn't hate it, but he's uncomfortable with rebuke.
Okay.
And I think it's addressing ahava mina, that it's not so bad. The Leitz's mida of not loving rebuke is not so bad because he only doesn't love it. But it's not like he hates it and maybe he'll listen if he hears it. Someone might think, okay, so that's not really going to harm him that much. It's just not a benefit he's getting.
Yeah.
But it's pointing out that there are many consequences to not loving it, not having that positive mida. Like he's uncomfortable with it, so he's not going to go towards Chachamim. And now that he's not near Chachamim, he's not going to learn everything that he can from Chachamim. So I think it's pointing out that even when somebody has a mida, which isn't necessarily bad, it's just not like the positive of the mida, it can have a lot of bad consequences.
Okay, so there are other consequences of this, e.g. not learning from Chachamim at all. At all. And then the meta point is, or possibly even the subject of the pasuk, is if you have a bad mida, which isn't the worst, okay, don't underestimate how it'll affect you. There could be how it will affect you. There are other consequences that could be very bad, even though they're not so bad in this limited area. Can we think of another example of that for a totally different mida? I think this is a good idea. Like, let's say for example, oh, hold on, I had an idea. You can interrupt me if you have one. Yeah, here's one. Okay, there are people who value cleanliness. Okay, and they may even be neurotic in their own cleanliness, but they're capable of like being in environments that are not like that, But then there are other people who are into cleanliness and neurotic about their own cleanliness, and they don't even want to be in places that are not clean, and that could take away like huge opportunities from benefiting from the environments or the people or the jobs or whatever when they're there, So like it's not that bad to like we wouldn't say that that's like a horrible mida. In fact, you could argue it's a good mida, but there are costs that are outside of the main, like in other words, when you're evaluating the cost of cleanliness or lack of cleanliness, you usually think about it in terms of the local thing. You don't think about the other areas that it'll affect you in. Yeah.
And it could be, maybe to go even a step further, it could be talking about not only where it's like a slightly bad mida, but you might even consider this like neutral. Like he doesn't like rebuke, he doesn't hate rebuke.
Yeah.
Just whatever, like it's making him a little uncomfortable, but even so, it's going to be really bad.
Yeah. So this is even true of so-called neutral midos. Yeah. So interesting thing, by the way, is I think according to this, when we did Leitz, we've done Leitz pasukim before. We did rely on this definition of Zaydiah here, Leitz Shema. There is the other definition of Leitz, which the pasukim allude to, but Chazal are really the ones who talk about it the most. Is Yoshvei Kranos, people who just are like bums, like not homeless people, but like people who like just don't do anything, don't contribute to society in any way, and just like sit and just hang out with other people, like wasting time, and I think if this were talking, I'm not claiming this is talking about that, but if it were talking about that, that would be even, I don't know, it'd be even more of a chiddush, because you could look at that guy and just say like, well, he's not doing anything positive with his life, but like whatever, but yeah, that's a bad midah if you are like, if you have this free time, whether like warranted or not warranted, and you're not using the time to like go to chachamim, like that, you are going to lose out in a huge way, Yeah, Moshe.
I was going to say something similar to Ezra, but it was more in line of thing why lo yahav instead of sone.
Yeah.
Because if pasuk said sone, then it would make sense that he has a steep hatred towards this thing. So of course it's going to spread to the people, the group of people that are very big in the Torah. And because it's an emotional reaction, so of course it's going to spread. It's going to go to them. But lo yahav, then it seems to be just showing that the person isn't hated, he just doesn't like, it means he doesn't like it. But what does that mean? That I think if a person has an emotional reaction to rebuke, then that really does mean that you said something that hit the truth and it attacked his ego. But if someone is just indifferent to your rebuke, just doesn't like it because it doesn't, and why are you telling me this? It's nothing to do with me. Then I think it's because he really genuinely believes that there is nothing wrong with him in that trait that he's
okay, so you're arguing that not loving in a way is worse or indicative of something worse than hating.
Well, I guess.
Could I tell you what I'm getting from what you're saying, and then you could tell me that if this is or is not what you're saying? In other words, like if hatred does come, if you rebuke me and I hate what you're saying, that does indicate that like I am sensing that this thing is true, and it's only hitting my ego that like is preventing me from like accepting it. But if I'm just indifferent to it, then like that could just be it's not registering at all. Is that what you're saying, or you're not saying that? Okay, so what were you saying then?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You can still say what you want to say.
I was going to say that the latter half of the pasuk was actually a progression of the first half, in that if you are like that character, if you do have that indifferent state, then you might think, oh, I'm still able to interact with these people who will give me this rebuke, and I'll just ignore that part of it. But I think what the pasuk is telling you that no, as long as you, even when you have this trait, over time, it's still going to become an emotional reaction, just as indifference as the rebuke.
Okay, so we'll write down both ideas. So Moshe Levin's idea is that lo yahav means he's indifferent, okay, and he's indifferent to rebuke, and since he tells himself that his indifference will still allow him to benefit from chachamim, because he can just ignore the parts that he doesn't like. Kamash Malan, over time, this indifference will end up causing him not to even go to chachamim, right? I'm not exactly sure why or how. How does that work? So think about it for a second. Then I want to do my inspired by a true Moshe Levin, which is if he hated the rebuke, that would indicate that he senses its truth, but can't face it from his ego. But if he is indifferent, then it's not even registering, or he's in such denial that he doesn't even I'm sorry, I'm just thinking of a sign from a scene from Arrested Development, which I'll have to show it to you later. Okay, which he doesn't even, what do you say?
Oh, I forgot.
That doesn't
even think it applies to him.
Yeah, even think it applies to him.
I
Yeah.
wonder if he recognizes this. Probably not. Right?
No, I don't think he does. Yeah. And by the way, this is talking about like interpersonality type, but I've definitely had like situations where like I've delivered a Mishleic idea, that like I know that this applies to certain people in the room, and I see no reaction, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why are you not infuriated and yelling at me? Like if you really saw that this is about you, so it must be that you're just not even seeing that this is about you.
I disagree. Well, okay, not that I disagree.
Yeah.
With the,
I hate it. Yeah.
Here's what I would say. I would say that like, yeah, some people don't even, it doesn't register, but I would say even if they do register it, they're not gonna like admit that. And if they're infuriated, it's gonna be an admission. So like, why would they just let them?
Maybe, but
internalize it
I don't
and move on with their
know.
lives?
You can tell. Like, I'll give you an example of this. Is like sometimes when I've seen people who are more on the like, Frum Haredi side, reading like Rambam in Chelek, like giving a shiur on Rambam in Chelek. Once I've done that more than once. What was that?
How often have you seen that?
Surprisingly, yeah, it was in my shul a while ago, and I was like, I was like, do you realize that like you're giving like yourself and your whole hashkafa a critique, by saying this? Like, are you really like, when you're reading let's see, like, Rambam's 3 groups about like the people who believe all this stuff, like, isn't that you? And he's saying that like you're an idiot, like it's just like, not even realizing this applies to you. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Oh, so that's an interesting thing also. I think there's another takeaway we can have from this.
Because I was.
Yeah, hold on a second. Which is I'll do this as a scary takeaway, okay? Which is that like, so I'd say the more I learn Mishlei, the more I realize that every pasuk should feel like it's about me, and like, so like if you're learning Musar, for example, in Mishlei, okay, and you feel indifferent towards the idea, chances are you're not looking at yourself honestly enough or deeply enough. So like, don't take the feeling of indifference as a sign that the idea doesn't apply to you. It might be exactly to the contrary. Okay, that like, it applies to you so much that that you're in denial. Okay, and even if that's not true, if even that ends up not being true, it's a good default stance to take. Kind of like with the default stance that every teacher should take is that if the lesson doesn't go the way that it's planned, or if the kids are misbehaving, it's your fault. And most of the time, then you'll be right. But like, even when you're not right, it's going to promote thinking that is beneficial to you as a teacher. Same thing as like in I can speak for Magic the Gathering, probably many other games, but if you lose a game, assume it was your fault and as a result of a bad decision you made. Don't blame external factors, because even if it was external factors, you're going to gain a lot more from your development by assuming that you were at fault. Yeah. Yeah, Ezra.
To answer the how question.
Yeah.
Unless Moshe, you know the answer.
Okay.
Maybe the fact that somebody's indifferent about it indicates not just that he's indifferent, but as you're saying, he has some emotional block towards it.
Okay, that's good.
I mean, even if it hasn't fully expressed itself yet, or in your case, it's expressed itself a lot, it's going to lead to hatred eventually.
Right. So as we explored immediately below, the surface indifference is symptomatic of an underlying denial, and that denial will pull him away from anything that might awaken his resistances. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I wonder if this is kind of similar to my idea I had about Doi in terms of like how he didn't recognize from jealousy, but not, I don't know if it's like specific about him, but like the idea itself that like if you don't recognize like the midas that you have,
Yeah.
it can really bite. It can really come back.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting because Doeg is the primary case of a holech Rachel, right? And Leitzim are engaged in Rachilus and Lashon Hara. I wonder how many midrashim you can find that explicitly identify Doeg as a Leitz in a Mishlei pasuk. Sorry, how many midrashim you can find that say that? Like if you did a search for Leitz and Doeg, I bet you'd find a lot. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, let's look, unless anyone has anything else, let's start looking at some meforshim here. Okay, let's do the Mitzudas David. I'm just going to use this on here because it's easier to access. Oops, this is the wrong pasuk. We are at 12. All right. Oh, short one. Well, they're all short. Lo yehav ba'avur shelo yehav b'tochacha lazeh lo yela el chachamim mipachado pen yochichanu. Okay, so because he doesn't love tochacha, for this reason, he will not go to Chachamim out of fear that they will rebuke him. So that's a good shot. I think that fits into several ideas that we said. I actually wanted to look at one Ramam first. Anyone associate to a particular Ramam when we read our pasuk?
No, but I feel like once you read it, we'll probably know what it is.
So yeah.
I can guess Hilchos Deos.
Oh,
Yeah,
there might be one Hilchos Deos.
You said it.
I was going to say in Tshuva, of the things that are ma'akvim as Tshuva, is. Umehen chamisha dvarim. I didn't highlight from this. Dvarim him nolim darchet tshuva b'fnei osehen. So there are 5 things that close the doors of tshuva before the people who do them. Echad haporch min hatzibor lefish b'zman sheyasu tshuva lo yihia imahen beino zocha imahen b'zechus sheosin. So someone who separates from the community, because when the community does tshuva, he won't be with them and he won't merit with their merits. 2 hacholik al divrei chachamim. 2 is people who differ with the words of Chachamim, who argue against. Hard to say. Lefisha machluk chasod goremes lo lifrosh mehen, because his this better word, dispute, disagree, contention, who part ways. I don't know how to say it, but like he's like who like are opposed to the Chachamim, basically, like so because of his opposition, then he'll separate from them. He won't know the ways of tshuva. 3, hamali al mitzvah, someone who mocks mitzvahs. Since they are despicable in his eyes, degraded in his eyes, he won't chase them and he won't do them. I've never seen that. I mean, it makes sense, but if he doesn't do them, then how will he make himself meritorious? Oh, good. All right, I was remembering correctly. Dalet hamavazi rabosov, someone who degrades his teachers. Should never say goran lahen ledachafo ulatardo kiyashua ukegechazi. Okay, this causes the Chachamim, his rabbis, to push them away and drive them away, like Jesus and Gehazi. You don't usually see that pairing. Okay, now I'm going to get demonetized. No, I'm just kidding. I don't get money. And then when he's pushed away, he won't find a teacher or someone who can instruct him in the derech emes. And then the 5th one, hasone es hatochacha, someone who hates tochacha. Shari lo hiniach lo derech teshuva. That's interesting. Shahari lo hiniach lo derech teshuva. There will not. How would you translate?
Leave for himself.
Yeah, is it him? He will not leave for himself.
So.
Yeah. Okay. A path of tshuva. Tochacha gorems the tshuva. Tochacha causes tshuva. Shebizman shemodin lo la'adam chata'av umachlimin oso. When they teach him, when they inform him of a person of his sins, and they shame him, choser b'tshuva, he'll go back. He'll return to tshuva. K'mosh kasav b'Torah zachor al tishkach. As it says in the Torah, remember, don't forget. Mamrim hiyisem, you were rebels. Lo nasan lechem Hashem lechem leiv ladas gomer. God did not give you a heart to understand. Am navav lo chacham. Okay, and hazinu. Wow, a lot of pasukim here. Wow. Okay, I didn't realize this was so long. Yeshayahu rebuked Israel. Amar hoi goy choteh. Behold, a nation that's a sinful nation. Okay, yada shor konehu v'gomer. An ox knows its master or its owner, whatever. Midati ki kasha ata. Okay, I don't know all these. Shnemar Kara bagron al tachsoch. He says, call out with a loud voice, don't withhold. So too all the Nevi'im rebuked Israel till they went back to Judah. So therefore, each and every congregation in Israel needs to appoint a great chacham who's an elder, who fears heaven, who's feared heaven from his youth, and who is beloved to them. Meaning to the people, not to heaven. I mean, that's true also. Shehei mochiach l'rabim, that he can rebuke the masses, umachziran l'tshuva, and return them in tshuva. V'zeh shesones ha'tochachos, this guy who hates the tochachos, inu ba l'mochiach, he won't come to the rebuker, v'lo yirtzonei advarav, and he won't hear his words. L'fikach ya'amod b'chatav, therefore he will persist in his sins, shein be'inav tovim, which are good in his eyes. Okay, that was a much longer discourse than I thought. So I wasn't sure when I read this if he was going to talk about the second half of our pasuk. He like skirts it, like he won't go for rebuke. But yeah, all right, fine. I just wanted to see that. Okay, so let's do Revenu Yona. I don't think there's a new idea from Mitzudas David beyond what we had or beyond like variants on what we could have. All right, Revenu Yona. Lo yahav leit hochech lo, el chacham lo yelech. Oh no, he connected to the second half. Okay, so let's look at the footnote on this one. Is there a footnote? Yeah, 21. Footnote 21. B'shar Tשובה beis ches. V'yesh anashim rabim yimna mehem or hatshuva. So there are people who, many people, who the light of teshuva is withheld from them. Kihem zakayim utahorim be'enehem. They are pure, innocent and pure in their own eyes. V'lo yisashtu al tikun masem. They will not pay attention. They won't be concerned with the correction of their actions. I think yisash is pay attention, right? Like in Yona. That's the only place I know, or Eshtanosav in Tehillim. Yeah, all right, fine. I think they won't give thought to the correction of their actions. They will imagine themselves to be perfected. They sin to God exceedingly. It says in Koheles, there's no man who's so good, who's so righteous that he does only good and doesn't sin. These guys, since they disparage matters of iniquity, lo yargishu v'lo yivinu lamo, they will not sense them and understand them. O hoda alehem chatasam v'nishkach milibam achrechein. That's another form of denial, is you'll tell them their sins and then they'll forget, right? They'll repress it. V'hinam kamo hachole she'enu margish b'cholio v'lo yakshov al refuah v'yichbar cholio tamid ad shaliyuchul hirapeh. So it's like a sick person who does not sense his sickness and he doesn't think about the remedy, the cure, and his sickness intensifies constantly until he cannot be healed anymore. I don't know what nisava means. Sometimes he'll be, I guess, caught up in this due to his lack of understanding. Because he won't seek out from them or about them. And he does not want to know. I mean, that's a reference to Yeshayahu. He doesn't want to know God's ways, but I think here it's a reference to he doesn't want to know his own ways or the ways of the people who rebuke him. He will not be he won't not be persistent. He won't be like a masmid. Like he won't like be there continually at the doors of the chachamim and their talmidim. Yeah. So what is he adding here? I mean, this references a bunch of stuff that we said here. I mean, one thing he's emphasizing here is the haughtiness, right? Which we did not really emphasize. That I mean, Moshe mentioned the ego, but he's saying these guys, these Leitzim think that they are already perfected, right? And therefore they don't see a need to go to Chachamim, and then even if Chachamim tell them, they won't think about it or they'll forget about it. Yeah.
Yoshia, just to clarify, Yoshia was a malach who Sikio said you have to let the Egyptians go through the land, and he said no.
I think so, right? Yoshiahu? I think so.
Was killed by Nevo, no?
Yeah,
Yeah. Neko?
yeah, Paro.
Yeah, Neko, I think, right? Yeah.
It's interesting because yesterday I was doing with Rabbi Gover that we were contrasting Yoshia with Shaul.
Mhm.
Shaw's like the measure says that like Shaul, he was very quick to do it was close over Shul very immediately.
Shaul?
Yeah. It's a measure.
Immediately?
Yeah. By
David did it immediately. I've seen a lot of midrashim about how because David did it immediately, then he's better than Shaul who didn't do it immediately. I want to see those midrash just separately.
Yeah, just take.
Yeah,
the
sure,
comments
sure.
from
Yeah.
that.
I mean,
It's-
look, you can be more immediate than other people. So like, yeah.
Yeah, so it had to do with the case where the last time he saw Dove and Shaul left.
Interesting.
You know, by the case. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we contrasted with Yoshio, because Yoshio I'm sorry, it was Bosh's Panim. There's another it was Bosh's Panim. Bosh's Panim by Shmuel, where he would just like just like he wanted Shmuel to come with him, and he definitely the Rebuke did. And we were asking like, why is this such a big deal?
Yeah.
But you see, like Yoshio, he wasn't Bosh's Panim. Yoshio, he wasn't Bosh's Panim with the Navi. He just so you see, so why am I bringing it here?
Good question.
Because Yoshio, in this case, he wouldn't accept Tochacha from what's his name from the Navi, but you see Shaul did.
It was Tochacha, or it was
He said
instruction about what to do, not to do.
Instruction what to do, but
Right.
the Navi knows more than him.
Yeah, no, you're raising a good question, which is how much of the psukim about Tochacha apply to like before the sin, when someone is just warning you, don't do this. Like you could see, there's obviously certain commonalities where like you don't think that this is going to be a problem for you, but like I don't know if it's the same as Tochacha.
It has to do with the haughtiness, though.
It does have to do with the audience. Yeah, that's correct. Right, he thinks he's an exception to this.
And that was ultimately his downfall.
Yeah. Did you have something, Moshe? If not, then we'll stop.
No.
Okay. All right. So let's stop for today. Think about it for tomorrow, and we'll come back.
Thank you.
All right,
I'll
thanks.
show it to you right now.
Okay.
It's the Midrash Eliezer.
Midrash Eliezer.